Hey everybody, what's going on? Stu put out a video earlier that was basically the theme of it was what if you were in charge? What if you were running Plarium? What would you do? And I thought that was a really fun idea for a video. I enjoyed the concept of it. I liked listening to his thoughts on it. And I thought I would make kind of a response video to it. So this is what I would do if I was running Plarium. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. I spent a while kind of writing out my plan. So I'm going to try not to ramble too much. I'm kind of try to hit on the points of everything. But first thing I would do, or I would make sure that I continue to do, is play the game. I think playing the game is crucial if you're going to be the one making decisions based on what happens in this game. You can't not understand the game and make these calls. And I think whoever's in charge right now is not playing the game, because it's kind of obvious they're not playing the game, because so rarely is there a change that we're happy with. So it seems like whoever's in charge is not playing the game. So I would definitely keep playing the game, first and foremost. The first actual thing I would do is I would get a patch ready that had a little bit of compensation in it, gems, energy, whatever, and it would implement the free artifact removal day. You've heard me harping on this forever, and I think it's necessary. So a patch would come that would bring some goodies and implement monthly free artifact removal day. It would happen once a month, be a 24-hour long event every month where you could remove your artifacts for free, not pay silver for it. That would be ongoing. That would never go away. At the same time I released that patch, I would make an announcement, Discord, forum, Twitter, and it would basically say, look, I know things have been bad, things are changing, there's new leadership, whatever it would be to indicate that something is different. As I really make it known that I'm aware things have been bad, and just ask for a little bit of patience, one more chance. I'm gonna turn this game around and be as genuine with it as I could be, and understand that I'm gonna get a lot of crap from that post. It's coming. The players are angry, rightfully so. They've been angry for a really long time. I wouldn't expect that to be different, and I wouldn't ask for any feedback yet, because I know that the majority of what I would be getting is just going to be negative. People venting at me, people angry. So I would just announce what's coming, let you know the plan. 3 big patches are coming. 1 patch every 28 days, starting from today. And by the end of the 3 patches, you're going to have a very different game. Bear with me. I'm going to do my best to fix it. Then I would probably not check social media for a little bit, so that I could just get to work and not be caught up in all the comments. First patch comes with another little goodie pack, shards, energy, whatever. Just make the players feel appreciated. It's been a long time coming. Give you some goodies that you can be happy with. A substantial amount of gems, a few thousand energy. Really say thank you for your patience. Enjoy. We appreciate you. With the first patch, cycling daily login rewards would be implemented. After we could leave the 90-day period alone. It can be what it is. When that ends, you then have access to your daily login rewards. I know that it's possible because the system's in the game already with the weekly and monthly quests. They are tailored to the individual, not the server. It's already there. Just make them apply to a recycling or a recurring daily login system. Not hard and necessary. For Ice Golem, I would do one of 2 things. I would discuss this, I would think about this for a little bit, and I would come to one of these conclusions. But I would either drastically reduce the health and survivability of the minions so that it's a lot easier to land a block revive on them, or I would make them a lot tougher and get rid of the revive mechanic altogether in Ice Golem, because that dungeon is way too hard. That dungeon is positioned to be the easiest dungeon, and it's way too difficult, it's way too annoying, and not enough people are able to farm 20 yet. So the waves in all the dungeons probably need to get nerfed a little bit. It needs to be a little bit easier to wipe through those waves. And then for Ice Golem itself, I would do one of those 2 things. It's just in a position with the gear that it drops, with where it is in the game, with the way it's all laid out. That should be the easiest dungeon. That's the first thing I would try to achieve that. Next, we're assuming that this happened right now, which means the patch is already live. So the next thing I would do is reduce the Nightmare campaign energy cost to 10. I'm going to make another video talking about the patch itself, so I'm going to try real hard to not let this turn into a rant about the patch. But look at this. Normal is 4 energy. Hard is 6 energy. I hope that kid never stops yelling out there. Brutal is 8 energy. Why in the hell is Nightmare 16? What is wrong with you? Moving on. I'm not trying to rant in this video. Nightmare campaign would be 10 energy if I was in charge. Beyond that, as far as campaign is concerned, I would double the amount of experience that you get from campaign by default. An XP boost right now is mandatory. If you've tried to level up your champions without an XP boost, it's virtually impossible. It is absolutely disgusting how much XP you get without an XP boost. And an XP boost is supposed to feel like a perk. It's supposed to feel like a limited time thing that you have to make the most of while you have it. And right now, it's mandatory. It should feel like gems well spent, not mandatory. It should feel like a perk. Right now it doesn't. I would double the base amount of experience that you get from the campaign right now. Next to that, when you're selecting your team for your dungeon or whatever it is, there's a couple of things I might do here. I would think about this too. Either when you hold over a champ like this, it would take you to your champ box instead of the index, so that you could see what gear, so that you could see which one it was. Because if you, like, I've got 2 Septimus built, I've got 2 Man-Eaters built, I've got 2 Cold Hearts built, I've got a lot of duplicates going on, and there's no way for me to tell them apart right now. So you could either do that, or there would be something you could toggle in your champ box. Like, in the same way that you can lock and unlock a champ, there would be a little toggle that would put a little visual indicator right up here in the left corner of their portrait and let you know which champ it is. Let you know, like, okay, like I could mark my better Cold Heart. I could mark, just some sort of marker so that you can tell them apart right now, because right now you can't do it, and that's really freaking aggravating. That would be the end of the first patch. 28 days later. Isn't that a movie? 28 days later? 28 days later, the second patch would come out. More goodies as well. There's no reason not to give us stuff. So some goodies. Maybe not quite as beefy as the first patch would be, but some substantial rewards. Something that would make you feel appreciated as a player. Here we're going after the dungeons a little bit heavier. Spider dungeon. Heal block is possible. You can now land a heal reduction on the spider. That automatically makes that dungeon more doable. If that was the only thing you did to Spider Dungeon, it would be helpful. But what we would also do is figure out something to make the Spiderlings a little bit less overwhelming. Because once they get rolling, it's just way too overwhelming. It's really hard to survive that dungeon with the way it is. So we would probably lower their overall effectiveness, lower all their stats a little easier to kill, do a little less damage, a little less likely to land that poison, and maybe stagger their speed. They all come down and they all have the same speed. Maybe we would stagger their speed a little bit, so that when one of them gets a turn, they don't necessarily all get a turn. I think that would make it a little bit easier. But heal reduction on the spider, I think, would be a big one. I think that would be really helpful. Tweaking the spiderlings a bit to make the dungeon just more approachable, Also in Fire Knight, we would get rid of his ability to heal. I think that the shield that he's got, I think that mechanic is unique enough and interesting enough, and it makes you have to think enough about your team. I think that's enough without also having to bring in a heal block. Now, I know Cold Heart is great for that because she's got heal block and a lot of other useful stuff, but not everybody has Cold Heart, and I don't want dungeons that revolve around a champion. I don't want Spider that revolves around Cold Heart and Royal Guard and that type of stuff, and I don't want Fire Knight to revolve around certain champions like that. I want you to be able to do it with different things at your disposal. So Fire Knight can no longer heal. He stays the same for now. We just remove the ability to heal. Keep an eye on it over time and see if that changes anything. Now, in this patch, kind of to piggyback on the changes we're making in the dungeons, we're putting some new champs in the game. To talk about a couple of them, there are 2 new rare max HP damage dealers, but almost as effective as Cold Heart in the way of of damage output, but not Void. So they're pretty obtainable. You'll get them eventually, and it'll open up the game. It'll open up the dungeons a lot for a lot of different players. We're also going to add one new epic counterattack champion. We need another one. We're also going to add one epic champion who has an A3 that ignores defense AoE. AoE ignore defense on the A3. This is just so necessary and so nice to have. It's nice for wave clearing in the dungeons. It's nice for an arena cleave. It's just a fun thing to have, and it doesn't really break the game. And it's it's going to suck for the people that don't have it right away, but eventually you'll get it. And I just can't believe we don't have that yet. I've never played one of these games that didn't have a character that did that. So we would add that as well. And then there would be some other new champs in the mix as well. But those would be the ones we would kind of put at the forefront of the patch. that we would make known were coming, and really make sure we nailed those. We would adjust clan boss and arena chests that you get. Right now, everything under Ultra Nightmare Transcendence chest is kind of garbage. To give you an idea, we're dropping Ultra Nightmare every day, so I'm getting 2 Transcendence chests. The other day I got a Sacred Shard in one and a Legendary Tome in the other. The next day I got a Sacred Shard in one, a Void Shard in the other, some Superior Potions, some really nice gear. The next day I got, I think, another Void Shard, and then the day after that I got 2 Sacred Shards. Like, it's absolutely insane, the quality of stuff that's just raining down on me for getting the Transcendence chest. And I don't necessarily think that's bad. What I think is bad is that everything under it sucks so bad. Before that I was hitting Nightmare, and I was getting maybe an Epic Tome every week and a half, Epic Tome. Beyond that it was crappy 4-star gear that I never kept, a few potions, like nothing really worth mentioning. So it's just the separation. I think that the chest should be the best, and I think it should be really good, but everything under it can't be garbage. And same with Arena. Arena is wildly imbalanced. Actually, not same with Arena, but we would do similar things in Arena. As I've told you guys before, I have the free-to-play account. I've gotten a Bronze 2 chest on my free-to-play account that put my Gold 4 chest to shame, and that's happened on many more than one occasion. That doesn't make any sense. That should be impossible. Gold 4 chest should always be better than a Bronze 2 chest. It shouldn't even be close. Gold 4 was at the top. You can't be at the top of Arena and getting worse rewards than someone in Bronze. Doesn't make sense. So we would rebalance all the chests. And you're only getting them once a week. Put some better stuff in them, for crying out loud. It's a week of grinding. If Arena was more competitive, it's a week of trying to hold your Arena spot. Put something good in there. It's a weekly reward, dadgummit. I like Stu's idea about Faction Wars having an autocomplete thing once you've 3-starred a stage. New York City, there's always noise in the background. I like being able to auto a stage after it's 3-starred. Kind of like Marvel Strike Force, you just come in and autocomplete. I don't know why I like that for this content and not for the rest of the game. Something about this content feels very backroomish to me. Maybe it's the currency that you can't refill, so you just come in and just pump your keys out real quick and be done with it. I don't come in here, but if I could come in and autocomplete anything I had 3-starred before, I'm totally with him on that idea. I definitely like that idea. Don't like it for the rest of the game, though. I think it changes the tone of the game too much, and I like this. I like I don't stay in games that have that feature across the board very long. I get bored with it. I like this grind. I like the tone that this game sets, so we would leave that. So I'm with Stu on that one. And then, of course, make any adjustments that we needed to on the first patch. Whatever we did, maybe there was something that we need to follow up on or improve on, we would do that. Moving on to the third patch. This patch would come with a completely revamped artifact system. And for those of you that saw my 10 Things Wrong with Raid video, I talked about artifacts, and in that video, I think it was that video, I showcased Summoner's War, Possessive, Summoner's Wars rune system. I think it's incredible. So we would basically do that. We would put raid skin on it and do something very similar to that. Because I think a lot of games have adopted that. I've seen that in a few other games now. It is so good. And at this point, it's so necessary, because what we have right now is absolute garbage. Maybe not absolute garbage. Maybe that's not fair, but it's really bad. You can't really filter anything. You can only see one piece at a time would change. I'm not going to go into all the details of the Summoner's War user interface for their rune system, but it is incredible. And I think this game would benefit so greatly from it. So we would put something very similar to it into this game. The ability to save team presets, especially in Arena. I'd probably let you do it in Dungeons too, just because why not? There's no reason not to. But definitely in Arena, when you're making a team, just a little tab here that you click and open up, and it's got like 5 spots where you could save team presets, so that you can just click that team and it puts that team here. Because as Arena is about to start getting more competitive, you're going to have to start doing different things. I used to just be able to come in with a cleave, and that was that. I had no issues. But it's about to start getting more competitive, so sometimes I'm going to want to cleave, sometimes I'm going to want to bruise, sometimes I'm going to want to come in stall and try to outlast. And I don't want to do this every freaking time I need to make a new team, you know what I mean? I know that might not seem like much, but if you're going to be in arena a lot and you're taking arena seriously, it's going to get old real quick. So there's no reason not to give us a little tab here where we can save some team presets. That would be relatively easy to accomplish and so helpful and so appreciated. So we would 100% do that. Beyond that, if you'll notice, her aura only applies to faction crypts, but it's still glowing. Anybody's leader skill that wasn't active wouldn't glow, and maybe even this would be like grayed out a little bit. Because right now I think, especially with newer players who don't even think to look at that so closely right now, it's even easily overlooked as an experienced player. You would think that because that's glowing it's active, but it's not. We'd get rid of that. It wouldn't glow unless it was active. Seems like a fairly easy thing to implement and pretty nice little quality of life update. Some more smaller things we would do: get rid of the kill a campaign boss 3 times daily mission. That's just the dumbest daily mission to me. Just leave it on beat a campaign stage 7 times and be done with it. You don't have to mix them up. That's not making it more interesting. And this always just feels like an interruption in my flow when I'm trying to get through my daily quest. So we would get rid of that. We would also revamp daily playtime rewards. These are garbage. The only thing close to being good here really is the energy refill and maybe the arena refill. But this needs to be more silver, better potions. If we're going to do shards, the shard needs to be more interesting. That whole system needs a whole revamp. We would do that. And then the Sparring Pit would now only have 2 levels. We'd get rid of the 3rd level. It would have 2 levels. The first level would be pretty similar to what you're used to. It would start with 1. You could pay to open up all the other levels. Beyond that, if you wanted to pay to upgrade them to level 2, what you get with that is more experience and more than you get right now from level. I think it's like an extra 1,000 experience an hour. You'd probably get a little more experience with the upgrade. But what would also come with the upgrade is they would now level up to their max level. You wouldn't have to come in their max level for their current rank. So like all these guys right here are 4-star. They would all just continue to gain experience until they were level 40. I wouldn't have to come in every time they gained a level and touch the button. Because having to do that really makes it pointless to upgrade these slots. Because unless you're sitting in the game all day long staring at it and you're ready every time that red light, that little red indicator comes up to come in and level them up, it doesn't matter if they're getting more experience. Because they're not going to continue to get experience until you log into the game and level them up. So what should come with the upgrade is I could put 5 4-star champions in at level 1 and leave them there till they're 40. Then take them out and do that. So that's what would come with the upgrade. I feel like that would feel like gems much better spent. I would feel much better about spending gems on this thing if it did that when I upgraded it. And then, as I said before, make notes on the other patch and make adjustments appropriately. From the end of the 3rd patch, now we would begin some interaction with the community in the way of putting out a survey every 2 to 3 months, getting feedback. What do you like in the game? What do you not like in the game? What would you like to see added to the game? Because that matters. That interaction with the players matters. It matters that the players feel appreciated and heard and acknowledged. And I would want to have a relationship with the people that play the game. Because that's ultimately going to be better for everybody. It's better for me as a developer. It's better for the players. Everybody wins if the player base is happy. And we would take in their feedback, and sometimes we'd do what they want, and sometimes we wouldn't. Being a good developer doesn't mean always giving the players what they want. It means doing what's best for the game and best for the players. And sometimes what the players want is not best for them. And you have to be able to make that distinction. But you can't just shut off completely from what they say, because sometimes they have some good ideas. And sometimes they want some important things that maybe you're not considering. So that's what we do. The events would change. The events would get a lot more creative, a lot more interesting, a lot more fun, a lot more doable, and a lot more diverse. We're seeing the same bull crap over and over, and it's not fun, and it's not interesting, and it's not doable. Nothing about it is positive. And people used to say, I'm so sick of hearing people complain about the free stuff you get from the events. It's not free. You show me you doing an event for free. It's not free. The rewards are not worth it. You always come out net negative. I've talked about this before. Events would change drastically. You would not see the same old bullcrap anymore. They would be fun. You would be excited to participate in them. Fusions would be way different. For those of you that were around for the Foley fusion, remember how it looked like it was going to be at first? Like the events were pretty easy. All the materials were easy to get together, and it looked like the grind was going to be farming the potions and building and ranking up the champs to complete the fusion. That's more along the lines of what the fusions would look like now, except the events tied to them would be a lot more fun and interesting, and there would be more interesting ways to acquire all of the food, and they would always be 100% farmable, and it wouldn't be set up in a way that was designed to milk you or screw you or, piss you off, is what it feels like now. Be very different. Champion balancing would begin. AI adjustments would begin. Cold Heart would start using her third skill first. We all know all the problems that the AI has right now, but I would really want to hammer in on the core, some of that core stuff in the game before I started putting out balance patches. But those would begin to come, and they would come pretty regularly. AI, champion mechanics, all of that stuff would be incorporated in those. Packs would be better. I don't need to talk much about packs. We know that the packs are not that great. Even the good packs are still not that good. Reskinning would come to an end. We would still reuse character models, of course, but we would change them up so much that it wouldn't be blatantly obvious that we were just throwing reskins into the pool. We would just care. That's the big thing, is I would just care. I would care less about making money and more about my players enjoying the game. Because I know, one, because that's just what would matter to me. That's just kind of how my ego works, I guess. I don't want to put out something. I would not be able to rest in the fact that I was making money. That would not be good enough for me. I would, whether it's ego or not, I would want to have put out something that people actually enjoyed playing. I would hate to have my players feel about me the way we all feel about Plarium right now. That would be my real driving force, is to never be spoken of like that. Never be in the same breath as EA and Bethesda lately and Plarium. I would really want to stand out. That would be my driving factor. And that would be it. That's what I would do. So this video, I tried to cram this down and not ramble too much. But that's what I would do. That's what I would do if I was in charge. So I'm interested to know what you guys think about that. And then I want to hear what you guys think you would do as well in the situation. It's interesting to hear, because like I said, I know it's easy to just get caught up in the frustration of it, but if it was kind of fun to sit down and think actually about what I would do, rather than just name a couple of things that I thought were wrong. Like, what would I actually do to fix it? And that would be the plan of action I would take. And of course, I'm sure during that there would be a couple times where I'd pivot a little bit, and maybe there was something I didn't consider that I would have to implement, things like that. But that's for the most part what I would do. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you would do. And that's it. See you next time.